What's up, guys? It's Infj Casual Friday again. We do Infj Q&As, and you can submit your questions always in the comment section of these videos, and on Mondays through my Instagram I have a specific story for that. So the first question we're going to address today is, can we use our dark side to help people? Is it actually something good? Should we do that? And is it dangerous to overuse it? So the dark side of an INFJ is, I think, something very unique to everybody. For me, the dark side, and I assume that's what the question is like directed towards, is to use your dark side in a way of, you can hurt others, you know that you understand them, you actually have big passion and a strength, and you know how to hit hard. um, for INFJs, very often we do have a certain amount of power that we're not using because we're so afraid of what they will like make other people think about us, that they will actually abandon us if they see how strong we are and how cold we can be, all of that. So the question is, how can you use this in order to help other people? And if you actually do it in a healthy way, so you tap into that dark side on a regular basis, so it doesn't come out in a door slam situation. It doesn't just come out when you've been holding it in for months on end and you were waiting for the other person to get what you're about. And you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and you're giving them all these chances, and then at some point you recognize, okay, that's it, and then I hit back because I don't have another choice. We don't want that, because that's not only going to make other people uncomfortable, but you. But please don't get me wrong. Like, my whole thing is, when you get to that place, like, really do what you have to do in order to find peace within, like, yourself. But for most of us, this is such a tragic thing. It's so, like, it really, really hurts. So we don't need to have this in our life. And so we can actually tap into our dark side on a regular basis. It can become part of our identity. And to know that this is okay, that we are a complete human being, including negative traits, including dark traits, and that makes us unique. That makes us a person. We're not like some image that somebody can, project onto us. We have all of that. So that being said, how can we use the dark side to help other people as well? If you choose yourself first, you're already tapping into the dark side. You're already tapping into, I'm, starting with myself, and then I add other people to the mix. Then I help others. So you might say, okay, so I'm actually stopping to think about other people, or I'm not really thinking about them and more about me. How can that be in a way that I'm doing something for other people? It's because you lead by example. Everybody that needs to get out of their dark hole or any kind of depression, or they want to get to a place where they take charge of their life and create that INFJ epic life, or if they're not INFJs, to create that kind of life, it's necessary for people to self-motivate themselves, or to get the help that motivates them, and then to say, I want this. If somebody wants to overcome addiction or some sabotage, they have to want it. And the best way for people to want to do it is not for you to take care of that for them, which we INFJs tend to do if we're not careful. On the other hand, though, if you choose yourself, you're leading by example, meaning you show that person, choose yourself first, and you will be happier. They will see you. They will see how you start to get more and more energized. They will see how you actually can help other people more because there's no codependency there. And that inspires so many people. It's not even funny. And you wouldn't have believed that. It's never the same as in, I'm giving myself up in order to help other people. Because you might say, believe in yourself, put yourself first, like to your friend, for example. But people are not doing what you're saying. People are doing what you're showing, or that's how they judge you. And, positively or negatively, it's an automated thing. So, if you are neglecting yourself in order to help the other person, and you're saying, choose yourself first, they're still seeing that you're not choosing yourself first. So they have no reason to do it for themselves. But if you do that, and you actually, what you're doing is you're saying, I trust that you can do this for yourself as well. I don't need to take care of you in that regard because I know that you can take care of that, that internal thing yourself. Not only do I know that you can, but I know that that's the only way to do it. So if I focus on you, then it's not because I want to help you. There is something, or that I'm going to help you. I might think that, but in the end, it's not going to. I'm doing this to heal something within me, or, not having to take care of myself. And so the second part of the question is it dangerous to overuse it? So, in a way, it can be dangerous if you neglect it for so long that it comes out in an uncontrolled manner. That's like the first scenario that I said, that you keep on walking on eggshells, that you say, I'm going to do everything like that the other person wants and all of that. And at some point you just, right? That's an unhealthy way, and it's very painful for both parties. I've done it before, and I've gotten it to a point where I said, okay, never again. I don't want to cause that pain. I don't want to feel that pain. I'm going to integrate it as part of my identity. I'm going to be okay with other people seeing my strength, and therefore not, um, you know, not protecting me because I'm actually like pretending I'm no danger for them. I'm not going to do that. I choose me. I'm going to believe in my strength, and with that, you inspire others. Okay, the next question is, how would you act when a gaslighter is shaming you in a group? Um, this is a question that I think so many INFJs go through, because the way we're set up, it invites a lot of gaslighters. It attracts a lot of narcissists, because if we INFJs are not healthy, we always go in the codependent direction. And so it naturally attracts narcissists because it works. It works perfectly. So if a gaslighter in a public setting makes you feel uncomfortable, it also makes you feel like they're turning other people against you. The thing that we do on default that is not healthy is that we say, I don't need to prove myself. I don't need to get into a discussion with that person. That person is weak. They're trying to, get into a fight with me. I'm better than that. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? Because at first, wouldn't you say, of course, I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to give that an answer, or I'm not going to, pay attention to this. But the thing is, you are in this group, and this kind of energy does affect you. And it's not, the goal shouldn't be that the other person understands your strength, or that the other person understands that you're above this. The goal is for that person to stop. And that's where we have to get to. We have to understand there are certain ego wants, and then there's like the thing our soul wants. Our ego wants to prove that we're above this. What we want is to be in a positive environment. So if a gaslighter starts shaming you in a group, there is no reason to let that person go on just to prove that you're above this. Even if it's somebody who would just, let's say somebody attacks you, and for you it's just somebody scratching your arm, and you don't want to react like so harshly, because then other people might think for you it's not just a scratch, for you it's like really stabbing, and you rather want to pretend like nothing is happening, or it doesn't bother me, it's just a scratch. But that person keeps on scratching, I guarantee you after a day, like your skin is going to be gone. So you still have to say, if I love myself, I'm not going to allow you to start scratching me. Like, like this is not what I want. Like, stop it. So the point is to get to a position right in that atmosphere, and to be like, why are you doing this? Why, like say, okay, what is your intention with this? What is this actually? Why is this happening? What's going on? I don't want this, right? Okay, hold on. So that's what we need to get to. That we address this right on. That we say, listen, I don't know what your deal is. I don't know why you think it's necessary for me, like to shame me within this environment. Why didn't you tell me this when it was just you and me? So what you're doing at that moment, you address that this is going on, and you address it in a way where you're self-confident enough to be like, you know, this is not about the topic. Like, you're really going overboard here, and I can see that. And when you do that, you do not wait for other people to agree with you. You're okay if they don't. It's not about, being the winner here. It's about staying in your state, and to know that I'm not going to let that kind of energy affect me. And the way you do that is to make that other person stop. That person stops when you make them uncomfortable. They have to recognize that if they go and touch a hot stove, they will burn themselves, because otherwise they subconsciously won't learn to leave you alone, right? So you don't have to think about, oh, I have to be a monster. All you do is you hold a mirror. That person puts some kind of negative thing towards you, and you put it right back. You don't even want to be scratched. Okay? So the next thing is how to deal with toxic family members. So this is a topic we talk about in boot camp as well. We have relationship management, and it's something that so many INFJs struggle with, because family members are probably the last people that we want to divorce or that we want to remove from our life. There's so much, there's so much that goes into it. And we want the people in our life. They're a family that what we call home. It's the hardest thing to disconnect with. So when it comes to family members, it's even that much more important to be harsh, to be really strict with your boundaries, and again, like, make that person aware. If you do this, you're going to burn your finger. It's not going to be comfortable for you, because a toxic family member tries to put things on you, and they don't do it because they think they sit at home and they say to themselves, oh, next time I see that person in my family, I'm going to attack them. No, it's something internal, like some kind of pain they're going through, whatever it is. And for some kind of reason, maybe from the things we've experienced as children, whatever it is, they have learned subconsciously that being toxic towards us is a relief. It's a release of that negative energy. And so they naturally tend to do this. It's an automated process. And they have to learn that they cannot do this. And they will not learn this if you sit down with that person and say, I think you're behaving in a toxic way. Please stop this, and so on. Because you're actually just addressing things on a conscious level. We have to get to that subconscious level. And in order for them to actually deal with their emotions, you have to do two things. First off, you have to stop giving them the option of you being a relief to that. So you do something when they act like this, like let's say they react like this. You're either are going to be, similarly how we talked about the gaslighter, confrontational right then, and you're not being confrontational from I'm a child and like into the parent dynamic. No, like, well, no, I'm not going to do this, da, da, da. But you're like, listen, if this is the way you're going to talk to me, I'm not having it. And like similarly how it is with the last situation, I understand when you're in a certain dynamic, you cannot just come out and be a completely different person, but you can lean into this and it gets easier. And this can be your father, this can be like, an authority figure, somebody that you respect, and that you still get to a point where you say, I'm not having this. This is not going to go on like this. Like, you make them uncomfortable. You make them uncomfortable to such a point that they recognize if they do this again, you will say or do something which will make them uncomfortable. Because that's something they like take in on a subconscious level. So they know you're not a release anymore. You're not a relief for that pain. And they actually have to deal with their own pain. They have to sit in their own pain and work through it. And before you know it, you have created an amazing dynamic. But it only works if you really put the basis not on they have to understand where I'm coming from, they have to understand that they're wrong, but you go from a standpoint of they have to stop. I just not going to accept that kind of behavior. And I don't care if they think I'm crazy. I don't think if they think like they're so, like, it doesn't matter. I just want them to stop. You have to get into control of what kind of energy you allow into your field. And it's that way around. Like, stop having that, make people uncomfortable, create this harmony in the moment so you can create harmony in the long run. Okay, the next question is, how do I personally feel about being seen as uncommon, rare, or special by society? If you accept that you are actually just the way you were meant to be, that there's nothing that makes you special in a way that you're different, there are just less people that are like you. right? So if we say, okay, there are 16 personality types, and let's say ISTJ, I think ISTJ males are the most common ones. I think, like, let's say like this. And then you have INFJs, 1%. So still, if you have one ISTJ and one INFJ, it's still two people with different set of values. So if I get to a point where I understand that my personal values are just as important as every other person's values as well, then I get to a place where I don't feel special. I don't feel uncommon. I don't feel rare because I automatically put my world first. I remember how it was. I remember thinking, I'm so different. Nobody understands me. People think I'm crazy, or like, and feeling alone and misunderstood and all of those things. I remember this so much. But I also know that it can be different because I don't feel like this at all now. Because the people that are in my life today make me feel like, of course I understand you. Yes, this makes total sense. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to hear. So specifically with our um, with with the way internet is and stuff, you have an opportunity to meet so many like-minded people, and that doesn't mean that in my physical life, I am surrounded by INFJs. I don't even think I have one INFJ in my like, physical world. But I get so many of those other needs met through the internet that the people in my life, we approach it as in, you have different values, you have a set of values, I have a set of values. Let's find the compromise here. And I don't put myself in a situation of, I feel I'm misunderstood. I feel that I'm not taken care of. So coming from somebody who's been in both positions, I know very well how it feels, but I'm here to tell you, you can change the way you experience this. This isn't something that's how it has to be. And when you get to that point, there is just nobody judging you, or even if they would, you wouldn't care. I very often give this example of if somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, you have brown hair," or "Oh, you have gray eyes," or something. It's like, so I don't care. So the judgment we put on something, that something makes us uncomfortable, is because we have that judgment about ourselves. If somebody would have said to me, "Oh, you're a bad person, you're selfish," that would have really hit me a couple of years ago. It probably would have never hit me if somebody said, "Oh, you have brown hair." So it's always something where you have an uncertainty about it yourself. So if it makes you uncomfortable that other people say you're weird or you're special or you're rare or whatever it is, always think of it, if that hits me somehow, then it's also something I believe that I deserve to be an outcast, sort of. But if you define, well, there are billions of people in the world, I don't have to talk to all of them. I can make sure that I talk to the people that I connect with, and get all my different needs met with different kind of dynamics. Then you're automatically going to put yourself in different situations. You're not going to be around people who don't understand you, because you actually express what you believe more and more. And automatically, those people who don't understand you, they just leave. If we believe that something weird or wrong with us, we surround ourselves with people who don't understand us and then keep quiet because we know they're not going to understand us. So, in order to get over this, it's like, let me put it all out there. Let people then decide, like, do they want this or do they not want this, instead of you already putting yourself back because you have convinced yourself that you're different or that there's something wrong with you. Okay, so I have another question. So that person says, I'm addicted to door slamming. Why do I allow people who hardly know me to hurt me? It's a continuous thing like this. And it also makes sense with the door slamming, because like, if you get really hurt at some point, you don't have another choice but to door slam. And one of those things is because we do feel alone. It's, if you have so much hidden within you, and then you have one person, and for some reason it makes sense, like, it's possible, there's a possibility that that person could be exactly what I need in order to feel like I'm finally seen. You're projecting everything on that person. And there's such a dependency on this having to work out, on this union being something special, because you need this release of, I'm being understood. I can, let myself out of the cage for the first time, because now it's somebody who will accept this, that we're willing to go the extra mile, we're willing to compromise our values and what we believe in and make ourselves small, dim our light, just to make them feel good in order for that to happen. So I know this from experience, and I know a lot of INFJ struggle with this. So that's why this happens. And in order to get out of that, we have to actually say, whatever I thought that person would understand, I have to put it out there for everybody to see. For those parts of me, the kind of, strength that you do have, the kind of convictions that you do have, that maybe you see this world a little bit more spiritually than others, and to allow other people to make the choice about it. That you're not going to wait to find a connection, to understand that person so much, and then you're allowed to, then you're allowed to be yourself. You're just being yourself. And I know that this transformation is really hard. I've done it myself, and I know how painful it can be, but it's the solution. And you don't have to do it all at once, but do it in a way continuously. So think about the last people that this happened with and ask yourself, what was I hoping that person would give my life? Would it be drive, because that person was so driven? Was it that there was creativity there? Was it that I had a project, that there was somebody I could help? Was it that that person would understand me? Like, put these things, like, realize them, like, really make a list about it, and then make it your task to bring this into your life one way or another. So that means if this person was a project, sort of, find an outlet how you can help people. If that person really inspired you because they had drive, and you thought, okay, if I can attach myself to them, then I would feel the drive to recognize, no, I have to do it myself. Even if it's slower, even if it's not as well as, if somebody else would do it, I have to do that drive. I have to create that drive for me. And it's a continuous uphill thing, but it doesn't have to be like, all or nothing. Okay, the last question for today. Is it good to tell your friends you are an INFJ? So this depends, of course, what kind of situation you're in. My friends didn't even know what that was, but I assume where you're at, people would know this. And then there's the question, okay, what's the goal here? Why would you want to tell them? Is it because you want them to have a certain image of you, as in, oh, so you're special, and that might them want to be more attracted to you, or they could put you in a category or whatever it is? My whole take on this is, just try it out. I don't really think that it's going to matter, really, because why would it? Like, if people are, want to be close to you because you're an INFJ, you're not going to care if you're, certain of where you're going and what you're doing. If you feel people are going to judge you because you're an INFJ, it still doesn't matter. So for example, with me, I have this channel, so I'm not going out to people and saying, I'm an INFJ, but of course, people who in sort of kind of way get to know me and they see what I'm doing, it's all over the place. So I'm not hiding it, but it's not a conversation either. It doesn't really matter. That's what I believe. I believe, like, you have to take the story out of being an INFJ. It's like saying I have brown hair. Yeah, so I'm an INFJ, you are an ISTJ, so okay, great. Yeah, not to make it that big of a thing. Okay, so that's for our INFJ Casual Friday Q&A. Send me the questions for next time below or on Monday in the story. I'm really looking forward to bootcamp starting next month. We have a waiting list, we have a payment plan. It's going to be really exciting, and we can go way more into detail than we can do in one of those Q&As. There's a conversation there. You can submit your personal questions. So it's happening like a really live thing in all of the sessions. So go check that out. I wish you a wonderful weekend, and hopefully I see you on Sunday's video. Bye.